Our day with Will typically starts around 1 to 2 a.m. He'll usually wake up just because he wants one of us in his room at that point. So we take turns and one of us goes in his room, takes him out of bed. Typically we change his diaper, we put him back in the bed, and then we sleep in his room, just one of us on a mattress that we put on the floor near his bed. So he knows that we're in there. He goes back to sleep until about 5:30 or 6, and then he's usually up for the day.
Will has Dravet Syndrome. Dravet Syndrome is a genetic seizure disorder that affects children in their first year of life. For the first 6 months of his life, Will was pretty normal. He did have some sleeping issues. He would have trouble with his naps. He would generally wake up about 30 minutes into his nap and scream for 2 hours. Despite that, there was nothing really suspicious with his health. At about 5.5 months of age, he had his first seizure, which lasted 20 minutes. He was diagnosed with Dravet Syndrome about 3 months later, when he was around 8 to 9 months of age.
Will's now 7. He does have cognitive delays and speech delays and some behavior problems. And he's in a special needs class in 2nd grade.
When we tell people that Will has Dravet Syndrome, 99% of the time they don't know what that is. So typically we'll say he has a seizure disorder or a form of epilepsy. Many times we'll get, my brother, sister, cousin or something has epilepsy, and he grew out of it. We'll grow out of it, and it's funny because the answer is always no, it's different.
Will takes 3 different medications that control his seizures. He takes 3 of them in the morning, 1 of them in the middle of the day, and then 3 in the evening. We're pretty strict about the time that he takes those. He usually takes them at 6 in the morning, at 12:30, and then again at 7:30 at night. We always are prepared and have them with us. It's just part of our day. It's become part of our life.
After Will takes his medicine in the morning, he definitely has his routine. He always eats the same thing every morning. He'll watch TV for a few minutes and then he's off to school, and just like any other kid would go to school. The bus brings him home about 3:30, and that's usually when his therapies start.
So in a typical week, Will usually has about 6 hours of therapy. That usually takes up quite a bit of time, especially if he has 2 therapies on one day. So we're somewhat homebound after school because therapists are coming here to see him at our house.
Speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapy. He also does horseback riding therapy.
So the speech therapy he does more than anything. I mean, it definitely helps with his speech. The behavior specialist works on things that we can do as a family too, like how to play games and how to do things with him that we can kind of all participate in. So typically we have to force him to play a game with the reward afterwards. Sometimes he'll do it with a headset on as part of his horseback riding therapy and music therapy. But he'll wear the headset and we'll get him to play a game or to do an activity by himself. And then after that, he gets a reward of playing on his iPad or something to that effect.
Will's therapists are amazing. They've accomplished so many things with him that we never thought he could do. He can ride a bike with training wheels with assistance from us, of course. He still has a long way to go on that. He's able to say complete sentences to some degree. So just what they've done with him is way beyond what I would have ever expected.
I would say one of our biggest challenges with Will is just his behavior. I feel like some days we're equipped to handle it mentally, and other days it just can drive you crazy. Some things the behavior therapist works on is having him control his emotions when he has been angry. Like if you transition him from one activity to another, like if he's doing something he really likes, like playing on the iPad, and you're getting him off the iPad to move to something else, he'll sometimes push and shove and sometimes even hit all of us that are in the house. So she works on those behaviors, just trying to get him to learn to kind of clasp his hands and, not swing his arms and hit us. Sometimes it's just really frustrating when you really can't act and you're supposed to stay calm and not show him emotion. So it's just difficult. You just almost feel like you never get a break.
Will's not potty trained yet. That's kind of a sore subject for us. I think we've been potty training Will for 5 years now. It baffles me. I don't know what the issue is, but unless you take him every 30 minutes, he's going to wet his diaper. And it becomes even more difficult when you're going out of the house for one reason or another. You get to know public restrooms pretty well. But it's part of it, unfortunately. I would love for him to be potty trained. That's something that I think we would jump for joy if he ever picked up on that. But I don't know, it just seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel at this point.
Currently, Will's behavior problems are somewhat of an issue in our house, because if it's ever quiet and you say, "Will, what are you doing?" and he says, "I'm trying," you have to go run and see what he's up to. Or he'll answer the phone and tell people he ate chicken nuggets for dinner and it's a sales call and they're asking for a parent. So he's just always everywhere getting into something. And the other day we went to a petting zoo and he was chasing a chicken, and before we could stop him, he was holding one up by the leg.
As difficult as he is, man, he does make me laugh quite a bit. Sometimes him and I will start giggling so much we can't even stop. I mean, he can really be a funny kid sometimes.